following podcast may be explicit. One Joe Young presents Adventures from the Shed, a tabletop RPG podcast. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com.
And here we are in the shed. If I push this button, you can actually see us like that. Hey, we are here in the shed. It's Adventures from the Shed. We are on YouTube. Of course, find us on iTunes, other streaming services like Spotify, Stitcher, that's what I'm looking for. But I think we're in TuneIn Radio as well. That was one of the first ones I threw up. I threw up. Which is still throwing up all over the internet. Because TuneIn Radio was one of the first streaming services you could get on your Amazon Echo device. And since I had those, like that one up there, I added that so that I could actually listen to our podcast through my home automation stuff. So those folks out there with an Amazon Echo device, I avoid saying the other word because that one will pick it up. Yeah, but those out there, you can just ask it to play Adventures from the Shed if you have your TuneIn Radio skill hooked up. It's pretty cool. Chances are it'll do the same thing with Spotify, but I haven't tried that. Anyway, we are back here. Sidetrack over to Mr. The Keeper.
That is I.
Who's that? That guy.
Hey, this is Kurt. I am playing the Keeper, which is the game master for this Pelgrane Press adventure, The Keeper of the Woods. It's actually by Frederick Foulds. I hope I said his name correctly. But it is up on the Pelgrane Press site for free, and it is for the Trail of Cthulhu game in the Gumshoe system.
And that guy next to Kurt is...
It's Chris. I'm playing Hao Lowell, the adventurer dilettante with his interest in the archaeology and the occult.
Cool. And then Terrence.
Hi, I'm Verge. I'm playing Terrence Cruz, author, former cop, here investigating the weirdness.
And I am the weirdness. That is Joe. I play Sherman Rawlings, who is your lovable, cowardly book thief. As if that is a thing. It is now. All right, here we go. Where were we last time? Somebody other than Kurt can give us a little, what's it?
We went from the police station, where we were talking to Detective Donnelly, up to the Dartmoor prison, because that's where they have the morgue. That's where we found out, we got to see Professor Blackwood's autopsy report, which we have here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put that up for
that button. Gosh.
There we go.
Joe can get it. And I'm still enamored with this handout. It's one of the coolest. I do. Nice. It's one of the cool, because it really looks like this is this guy's handwritten, and I know somebody did handwrite it, but it really, to me, it gives a lot of really cool ambience to the story.
They did a great job on the professor's journal page as well, I thought.
But yeah, so we found out that she had injuries from the wreck, but it looked more like her throat was cut with some sort of obsidian, I think, style blade, that her wrists were bound, so it's pretty much looking towards murder. We went to the library, and there was a wealth of information of the things that she was looking up, from weather patterns to archaeological things to historical crimes, 15th and 16th century witchcraft trials, things like that. So there's a huge amount of things that we learned from there. After that, we decided that it was time for us to hit up Detective Donnelly one last time and to head to Post Ridge again.
We want to check the church.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I got, at least from the library, from Sherman's perspective, is the confirmation that stuff I don't want to think about has been happening every 25 years. And I don't like that. Sherman really doesn't like that. That's
so is he still in the non-belief mode?
Yep.
Is he still like that? It's just a bunch of crazy people doing stupid stuff?
He's teetering on the edge of maybe some of this happened, but it has to be able to be explained.
Yeah, that's what Terrence would be. Is he's like, all right, well, these are people in a cult or any blah blah blah. That stuff legitimately happened. Maybe these people back in the day were on trial for witchcraft, but it wasn't really witchcraft.
Yeah, I'm thinking again the same idea, but Sherman's perspective is more like at the beginning, this stuff didn't even happen. right? And it's just somebody wrote about it. It's myth. It's rumor, is what it is. And now it seems like some of it happened, but it's now it's like we've got to figure out what the explanation is.
Yeah.
Not that it's going to be anything weird, but that it's just going to be, you know, some psycho in a horned suit that on other days dresses in a green morph suit or something, right? That's what it's going to be.
You're thinking it's very Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's going to be Old Man Smithers at the end of this. We're sure of it. Yes.
It's going to be Updike, Miss Updike in the suit.
Yes, yes. That would be so awesome. We get at the end of the story, the horned beast pulls the mask off, and it's silver hair and the tight bun.
You got pretty excited about the thing earlier.
The grammar
right?
police.
The grammar police. And she's got a grammar siren going on. May can.
Woo,
May
that
can,
was a dangling
May
participle.
So, yeah, we'd like to officially ask Donnelly if he would deputize us, or at least come with us to town, back to Postbridge, to continue the investigation.
Is it still crappy driving, crappy weather, all that?
Yeah, so the blizzard, had stopped, but it is still ice cold. It's gray. There's still flurries from time to time. Very, very abnormally cold in this area. Not as bad where you are as it was in Postbridge.
Yeah.
It's still bad, but I think you'll find as you went away from Postbridge, it got a marginally
How far are the
better.
towns apart, by the way?
Yeah,
It's just a few miles, I think.
It ended up taking us like half an hour because
it took longer
Snow
because
and ice. Yeah, I can't remember what we had said, but I think it was
I think we said something like 5 miles.
6 miles. I had it in my mind, but I could be wrong about that.
Right.
So.
But so Mr. Howell will, Lowell, sorry, will question
how low can
you
Detective
go?
Donnelly.
Yeah, so he says, well, as I'd mentioned, the force would certainly appreciate any help that you can provide us, particularly with investigating this matter, as we have a number of issues on our hands. But
I think
specifically,
I think since we're outsiders, it would make more sense if you came with us to, intervene, or at least question the priest.
I was going to say,
He wants the force to be with us.
to intervene.
Sorry.
You mean to?
Well, I think we should officially ask the priest why he had the Father Blakely, why he had the professor's diary.
Yeah, there has to be some
Journal.
link because she didn't just leave it behind somewhere.
And then even the
did.
insinuations from Hannah, Mrs. Blackman, that's
right.
that should be questioned regardless.
Yeah.
Right.
And where did her husband go?
Yes. And we have 2 people that are still missing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's the end of the day here. I think we had decided it's kind of late afternoon.
Yep.
So Detective Donnelly says, look, I understand. I hear what you're saying. This does sound like it's worthy of investigation. There's no possible way that I can go to Postbridge this afternoon. If you'd like to meet with the vicar tomorrow, I would be happy to join you. I have commitments until about 11 in the morning. I can see you anytime after that.
You want to stay in town at like the Duchy Hotel or something? Or
I think it would behoove us to stay in this
I'd rather
town,
stay
yeah.
in Princetown.
You sure you want to do that one, or we could go to the
feather or something or other?
the Plume of Feathers Inn? I mean, if we do that, we'll pass the old Duchy on the left-hand side.
Nice.
I mean, it's up to you.
I love it.
I'm good with whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so you guys can stay.
It was a stretch, but
I think that may be the first obscure lyrical reference of this campaign.
I think so, and a particularly good one.
Yes.
So.
Were you saving that?
a little bit.
Okay.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, ooh.
That's going to come up. I know it is.
Been waiting all day.
I had that loaded, just ready.
Finger on the trigger, shaking.
Right, so which one did you guys
Tell me,
gonna
punk,
stay at?
do you feel lucky?
Do you, punk?
I think we're going to stay at the Squealing Pig. Is that what it was?
The Plume of Feathers?
Yeah, that one. It's the same thing.
So you're not going back to see Hannah tonight? You're going to stay.
No, there's no point in going back.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have to wait until morning to get him anyway.
Yeah.
I'd rather we all go in the same vehicle than him trying to meet at someplace.
Yeah, and at least to me, in the weather and the period, it doesn't make sense to drive to the other town to stay overnight and then drive back here in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I feel like I'm missing. I'm looking for something particular in here that seems to not be here, which is weird. But I know that there's, these are just local hotels and inns, so there's not going to be information to be gained, but there certainly can get a room.
But there's beds to be gained.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can certainly
sleepage.
Find a bed if you're willing to pay for it and have a comfortable evening.
Sounds good to me.
Sorry, I'm just looking. If y'all
I got a credit rating of 3.
for one.
Oh, mine is
Reading
only
good
2.
tonight.
However, I could help them with their books.
That's right. Cook
Mine
the books.
was 3, but I spent 1.
I can account the
I
hell
was
out
going
of
to cook
this.
those books.
Plus, if we don't have enough money for 3 rooms, I do still have some locksmithing points.
We're going to make it 3 rooms.
I get the feeling I won't need those in the woods. However,
You might need your accounting.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, trees, they're all about the accounting.
Yeah.
They don't want to be turned into paper, you see.
So you guys have the evening. Joe,
Yep.
Sherman has been a little bit squigged out, perhaps more than the other,
He has.
other
without a
gentlemen.
doubt.
So
I mean, like even at the mortuary,
That's
mortuary / prison, he stayed away because this is just a little too much.
so you guys retired tonight. You have separate rooms.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'd like to, before we separate, I'd like to make sure that we all memorize that spell for dismissing the Horned Man. Even though I know you guys are non-believers,
Yes.
I'd like to memorize this incantation, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Stemios del
Ratu,
Pineapples.
Nictu, whatever it is.
right, which is a
Ratu,
long
Ratu.
detail.
I said your words.
I missed the bus. He missed the bus. When's the next bus?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys can work on that
Bus.
around the fire, perhaps having a sip
Whiskey.
of
Around the
brandy-
fire. It's a campfire spell.
brandy or something to keep you warm.
So I'll break out an acoustic guitar. By the end of the spell, we're all singing "Take It Easy" by the Eagles because that's just how it works.
After you guys go to bed, Joe,
Yes.
Sherman awakes during the middle of the night, and he's alone in his room.
Sits straight upright, screaming, "Updike!" In a cold.
Around you, the
library
room is
sweat.
it's dark and empty. You're making this really hard.
That's what he told
said.
Updike.
Sorry, Kurt.
You don't wake all the way up. You feel just like the edge of your consciousness, like
Okay.
that there's something kind of tugging you from your sleep.
Oh, okay.
And it actually compels you to get up. And despite the cold outside, it's pulling you out into the moorland.
Ew.
And you put on your coat and you start to walk across the snow-shrouded.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's really, really cold. It's
Yeah.
the middle of the night. And you have the sensation that you're being driven forth out into the moors. You can feel everything getting colder and colder around you, and like ice is like starting to claw at your flesh.
And this is still like in a trance-ish dream state. Okay.
yeah, you like, but you're there, and as you walk across the moors, eventually you start to approach an area with stunted and twisted trees. You can hear strange chanting carried in the wind as you approach, and a figure starts to materialize from between the branches in front of you. It's cloaked in all black, has a crown made of broken, malformed, kind of scraggly antlers on its head. And it speaks directly into your mind. Its lips don't move, and you hear it just saying, "Release me," to you.
Oh.
Release me. As it does that, it reaches out and lifts up its head, and you very briefly catch a glimpse of just a white and completely featureless face. As the face looks up at you, that moment you feel a sensation of a cold blade slicing across the front of your throat.
That's bad.
As soon as you feel that cutting into your windpipe, you wake in your bed, sweating, and have to make a 3-point stability test.
Updike, just like,
Oh my.
Just
She's right there with me. Okay. I want this one. I think this is the one I rolled the 3 on last time. So let me do this. All right. 3. What's my target number?
Well, it would cost you 3 points if you lose, and your target number is 4.
4 or higher.
I'm going to spend 2.
Okay.
Let me mark those off now.
So that'll take you down to
4.
Okay.
Okay. Woohoo! And I rolled a 6. So I don't completely suck.
Okay.
It's most.
And that's stability. Remember, stability is not sanity. So it's just. If,
But it affects sanity at some point, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Stability comes back, though.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. But you like had this haunting dream, and you've woken up in the middle of the night, and you are not going to be able to get back to sleep for the rest of the night.
Yeah, so that, I mean, I guess from Sherman's perspective, that's a nightmare that has just been caused by all the things he just read and saw. It's not real. There's no chance that's real. Definitely disturbed.
You got a mark on you?
You know, I would go to the mirror to look, just to confirm that I'm right, that this crap ain't real.
Right.
And I'd have no mark on my throat, right?
You do not.
Okay. Just make sure, because that could actually change things a little bit. How about, like, am I cold like I was outside cold? I mean, is there there's no real things that creep into it?
Correct.
It was strictly
just a night terror.
Oh, cool. So I can almost dismiss this, except that it shook me.
Right.
All right, yeah.
Well, I mean, you rolled a 6 on the stability test, so you're not.
Yeah.
It's not as bad.
But I did spend 2 points, so it cost me a little to not lose the others.
Right. Okay. So morning comes. You know,
I am not going to relay the dream at all because I think it'll just feed into the paranoia.
Okay. Okay.
Get ourselves a big breakfast since we got to wait a little while for Detective Donnelly.
Yeah, so you've got time. You can have a big English breakfast, some bangers and mash, and a nice cup of tea, nice spot of tea, and all of that. And
I want to ask if they have any obsidian knives to cut the pancakes.
Not this time.
So you spend the morning. There's nothing in particular investigative that you can do here. So let's just say that you all meet up with Donnelly before lunch, and if you want to head to Post Bridge, you certainly can.
Post haste.
Post Bridge, post haste.
Yes.
I'm going to aggressively eat my breakfast. I'm going to use intimidation. I'm going to use intimidation and streetwise on this bangers and mash.
And then you'll flee from it.
Well, yeah, when I'm done, so it can't fight back. Kurt has that look of y'all shut up, so I can tell you what's next.
It's fine. It's fine.
So at around whenever the time is, he said after 11, we're gonna hop in the car. And
is the plan still to go to see Hannah first, then the church?
I think.
Or do we want to talk to William MacArthur again, or not?
I'm thinking by timing, we started at the hotel or the inn, and later we went to the church. I think we'd go back to the inn first. It's been longer since we've been there.
Yeah, okay.
It makes sense to me.
And do we want to try to find
William
MacArthur again, the old drunk guy, or not?
I mean, I'd like to. I don't know if it makes any sense for anyone else to. I just think he's the most credible person we've talked to so far.
Even if he's still around, he get he go missing too.
Right.
So Hannah first, I guess.
Yeah.
So if y'all head back to
Lodge, I think it was.
Thistle Lodge, right? So Hannah's still there. That's her job, is running the bed and breakfast, and she's just has put breakfast out for everyone and is doing the dishes to prepare for lunch, which she serves at 1 o'clock. When she sees you, she welcomes you back. She's I was so nervous you all didn't come back last night. You'd already paid for your rooms. I was afraid something had happened to you. Have you found my James?
No, we were wondering if you'd heard anything.
I haven't heard anything. It's been another full day.
We're working with Detective Donnelly from Princetown.
Mom.
I'll introduce you.
It's very proper. Mom. Mom, pleasure. I mean, I haven't seen him. I don't know what could have happened to him unless...
Has the father come to visit you or not?
No. She's like, I'm afraid he's behind this. I think he might have my James, but it's something with this cult. But nothing else has changed since I last saw you.
Any news about Nathaniel Brandstaff?
I would blurt out, if she thinks the father's behind something, I would actually blurt out that he had Blackwood's journal. I want to say Blackmore. Yeah. He had Blackwood's journal. I would just feed into her own paranoia, because I think it's a person behind this, not some weird thing. So yeah, the vicar had Blackwood's journal too.
She's like, I know he's behind it. I told you, I think he's the leader of this cult of some kind.
Do you know who else would be a member of this cult in town? Possibly the bartender from, I can't remember the place, the bar we went to.
Pierce?
East Start, I guess it was, we went to.
The East Start Inn. Is the bartender Pierce?
I don't know, he seemed to want to shush William MacArthur quickly when we were talking to him.
I mean, there must be, I don't know.
There's anyone that's friendly to the father? Father Blake?
I think Father's friendly with almost everyone in town.
I bet he is.
I mean, it's a small town. It's I'm sure that there must be many people involved, but I'm not. I don't know the details of what's happening, but I'm afraid my James does, and I'm afraid he's gotten on the wrong side of something.
Nope. So you haven't heard anything from him?
I've had no contact from him at all.
And it's been
2 or 3 days now?
A
few days, yeah.
About 3 days now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I just hope he's alive.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't. I guess I'm going to be bleak in saying he wouldn't have survived outside on his own over the last few days. That's for sure.
Right.
Exposure would have. Yeah. But he'd be well preserved, ma'am. Mom.
He says, she's got nothing else to offer you. Nothing has changed.
We'll go to the church.
She's a little more frantic than she was yesterday, but she is glad to see you. And she encourages you to try to talk to Father Blakely.
All right.
Yeah. Let's go.
If he's not at the church, do you know where he lives?
I mean, his house he's just right adjacent. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Off to the church.
yeah.
All right.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. He's definitely behind it. We're about to
I'm making
solve this.
sure the shotgun's loaded.
'Cause I'm not sure that's necessary, sir, at this point in time. It's just a vicar.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but a devious one at that.
I don't trust
walking around with the axe, just dragging beside me with a limp.
Oh, in the background you just hear.
all right, so church first.
Put on a hockey mask.
Yeah, we're headed to the church next.
Yeah. Church.
Well, I guess technically, where does that fall in the path?
I mean, we could go to to see if the drunk is
Yeah,
at
if the old
bar.
dart is in between the inn and the church, then we would stop there first.
All right,
Okay.
And remember, this is all very close together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you stop there, it's midday, right?
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
on lunchtime.
Yeah, by this time.
So William's sitting at the bar with a pint of beer in front of him.
Pissed drunk.
I mean, he's a drunk.
Yeah.
Like he's
That's
there
how early
almost.
he started. Yeah.
Yeah, he's there most days.
He shows up at the door drunk.
Yeah. He's a solid drinker, though. He's not a slurring, sloppy drunk, at least at noon. But he's
Right.
definitely a hard drinker, given his war injuries and what he saw over there.
So I'm convinced that this guy is the only sane one that I've talked to so far. I'm just going to go right up to him. Hey, man, what else have you heard?
Hold on. Before you said he's got some type of disfiguration or something. That's from the war.
Yeah, I think he had an injury from gas, if I remember.
Is it really from gas, or is it from the Yeth hounds with the sulfuric acid?
Ooh. You'd have to ask.
I want to ask him. Hey, is that really from the war, or is that from something else around these parts? Perhaps Yeth hound.
I wish it were. Well, I don't know if I wish it were, but no, it's from the damn Nazis.
It's not from the meth house.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. This is all I
The
got.
Nazis.
Gotcha.
So,
35.
and he's a lot more wary of you because you're there with a police officer than he was last. I mean, he was wary last time.
Oh, right,
he is
right.
not particularly interested in talking to you.
Yeah, that's why I just want to be chummy with him. Hey, bud, what's up?
How you doing?
Right? He's like,
You been to the library
want a
lately?
drink?
I told you all. I told you all what I knew last time. I've got nothing more to say to you all.
I'll buy him a drink anyway. That's his language.
Right, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Must be, and I can use like a credit rating or reassurance or whatever. Just using up
You
points.
use a reassurance.
Yeah, let's do that.
So what are you looking to get from him?
For me, again, from Sherman's perspective, this is the only sane guy because he's drunk and talking crap, whereas everyone else is talking crap sober. So I give him a little bit of a pass, and I'm just looking for. All right, so, I just want to remark. Last night we heard that the howling wind and that nasty smell we saw we experienced again. Did you get that here? I mean, what did anything go on here last night?
He says
Or yesterday?
Yeah. And he,
Because he acknowleded it, and other
Maybe
people
you could
aren't.
have a conversation with him about your. I'm not going to say that, but maybe metagaming.
He says, if he's just talking with you and not with him, he says, I told you, there's strange things here on the moor. Things beyond our
did it
world.
happen again yesterday?
He says, it's happening now. That's why it's freezing and why there's howls and things aren't right. The time is coming.
Ooh, like when? I look at my watch.
Not for me to say. It's not my problem. It's not my war.
Huh. Do you know whose war it is in town? Is there anybody that we could tag along? Maybe help him shoot something?
It says, look, it's not for me to say, but there would be an obvious some leader that you would want to talk to here. And
So
you're kind of looking down at the bartender, and he says, he knows at this point you guys are serious. He says, you should talk to Father.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And I'll deny I ever told you.
I'll deny you ever told me to.
That's
say
just
he
with
did
you,
it.
not in front of the cops.
We're all in denial.
We were never here.
I was never
This
here.
conversation never happened.
Tell him I didn't tell you anything.
Will do. Specifically tell them you didn't tell me anything. Yes. Because that completely clears you.
I could use another beer, too.
You got it.
Not another dyed orange, but another beer.
That's what they've been serving him for 10 years. He has no idea.
So he's he was honest with you last time. He told you, like,
All right. Off to the St. Gabriel's.
Yeah, I think we got the information from him we were going to get. Yeah, we want to now go figure out why the vicar had Blackwood's journal and this testamentum.
Mm-hmm. So we're going from the East Dart to St. Gabriel's Church.
Okay. And you guys have already been up there before, so
Yeah.
so this time the door is open, and there's not services going on or anything, but when you walk in, Father Blakely is in fact there, and I just want to see if there's any. He's in his late 50s. He's got silver, kind of gray hair. Very tall posture, very erect. Not in the way that you're thinking.
I'm thinking he's standing upright.
And when he looks,
are you thinking like Homo
he looks
erectus?
at the door. He looks at the door, sees you all come in, and has kind of and starts to walk towards you and says, how can I help you all today? Come in. It's cold outside.
Yeah, that's not me. That's somebody else. I talk to drunks.
You want to be bad cop, or how do you want to work this?
Oh, just
You have flattery. I have intimidation.
Just
You be
as
good
a
cop.
thing,
Okay.
like sticking with my character, looking around while other people are doing the interacting. I've been curious now about the whole 25-year thing. When we were here last time and we looked at the stones that were part
They're
of
all in
it,
threes and
are
stuff,
there
too.
any of them from this year? That's what I want to look at. I'm just going to look around.
The
at
new
stuff.
ones?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And that's just the character thing that I would want to do. I as Joe, I didn't expect it to be, but now this character, again, just looking for proof that it's just normal stuff.
Right.
And not finding them is proof for me. Or at least good evidence to the contrary.
They did have the dates of death were 25 years apart.
Yeah.
Those trio stands and stuff.
And if we're in that, what I would do, the air quotes of 25-year cycle, then there should be something happening. And
Well, it's imminent.
Yeah, nah, it's all made up.
Right.
So you start with the flattery, and then I'll come in with the intimidation.
It's so hard to do that. Father Blakely, we are friends and colleagues of Professor Blackwood that died in the car crash past week, and we were interested to know what you could tell us about that.
And so all four of you are in there with him, is that right?
I'd be around, but not directly involved in the conversation.
And he says, why would you think that and he's kind of frowning, why would you think that I could tell you anything about it?
Oh, well, we were staying at the Thistle Lodge, and James had told us that, she had talked to you and talked to him and, all that kind of thing.
James told you that?
Yeah. I don't know if you need me to make like a line
So
roll.
you've never met Professor Blackwood?
I have met her. She was here in town and in the local area doing some research. And, of course, we chatted. It's a very small town here in Postbridge.
Oh, so that's
She's
it?
a very nice lady, very kind. So...
I'm distinctly reminded of the phrase, don't bullshit a bullshitter.
right. I'm just trying to get to see how,
I like the approach. I definitely like it. I would have raised an eyebrow when I heard you say, yeah, James told me.
Oh, yeah. Like, how did you react? Does he seem nervous when I said that James told me?
Yeah, he seemed surprised. He said, James told you that? Yeah, so. And he's talking with you, and he's kind of frowning, and he's looking police officer. Yeah. So I don't know what you think he's going to admit in front of a copper, but you're welcome to
how's
try.
Donnelly reacting in this?
I think he's just there as a presence, unless you tell me otherwise. So.
Yeah, I'm curious how he's reacting. Not necessarily acting,
I
but
don't know how
how
much
he's
more flattery I
reacting.
got in me. I'm just going to...
No, it's like, well,
Look.
if that's what you're saying, that you met her once or twice or however much around town, she was nice. I'm going to use the intimidation for this.
Okay.
Why did you have her notebook in your safe?
Her notebook?
Journal.
Her journal.
Very important document to her, and there are not many places in town. We don't have a police station where she could keep it for safekeeping, so she provided it to me to hold while she was in town.
Well, that's very much not true, because she never let it go for anyone. Trust me, I would know this.
Well, young man, I'm not sure what you want me to tell you.
Assessed honesty.
Okay. Do you have a point?
Yep.
I mean,
clearly lying.
yeah, I mean, he's not going to admit in front of a police officer that he was involved in, if he was, in the murder of someone, but you know that he is not telling you the truth.
I'm going to stand off to the side so when the lightning bolt comes down from heaven, that it doesn't directly impact me.
Right, right, so.
Look, if you want to finish out the rest of this day, you're going to tell us everything you know about what happened to James Blackman, what happened to Professor Blackwood, because we know she didn't die in the car wreck. And your hands are all over this. So if you want to leave this building, you're going to spill the truth.
Also tell us about, hold on.
Nathaniel Brandstaff?
You can go ahead and say that. I was going to say, also tell us about the Keeper of Wistman's Woods. The Keepers of Wistman's Woods. And what your involvement is with them.
And so at this point, I think he realizes that he's... You guys know what's going on.
Found out.
Right, and so...
I still have the shotgun here, by the way. I brought it in.
Just, gentlemen, he says, I know what this looks like to you, but I can assure you that the professor's death was absolutely required for the greater good.
What does that mean?
Greater good.
He says, there's more going on in Postbridge, and the more than you could possibly know about or understand, and we're the last line of defense for not just this town, but for the country and perhaps the world against a great evil.
I'm going to step up right into his face. Like I said, I'm carrying the axe that we've got, and it's just for show right now, and I'm going to say, you better start explaining why the death of a good friend of ours was necessary, or this policeman here is going to be taking me to prison, and you're going to be out there among the gravestones.
Well, if she didn't die by my hand, she and millions of more would have died in the next week. So it's our responsibility to bind the evil here, and it requires sacrifice. And unfortunately, it is a sacrifice that the world does not understand and never has understood, and has killed those of us throughout the years, throughout the centuries, who've tried to do this great good for the people, burned us as witches, killed us during as times as druids, and we simply can't trust that this knowledge gets out into the world. And Professor Blackwood was digging too deep, too fast, and didn't understand where she was going. She couldn't be allowed to leave here with the knowledge she had.
Now, I'm just standing off to the side, putting the finger around my ear like this guy is psycho crazy.
Right. And if you kill me, or you take me to jail, or you prevent me from doing what has to be done, then there's nothing to stop blackness.
So what happens? What is this blackness? What is this great evil?
Well, it goes by many names through the years and through time, but essentially it's like it is a great cosmic darkness that wants to take over the world. It's been gone by different names in ancient times. People referred to it sometimes as Ceranos. It's known as the Horned Man, or around here as Old Crockhorn, but these are local names for a much greater, darker evil.
So now, we have to now that Donnelly has heard him say that she died at his hands, can you just arrest this guy and get it over with? Because clearly this is the end of it.
Yeah, you can arrest me and you will all be dead by the end of the week.
Whatever.
Well, we need to, so that's the thing we're not understanding. So you guys use the Testamentum Vigilum to bind whatever this is out of this world. But to do that, you also have to have a sacrifice to complete the binding. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right. Every 4 times per century, we have to perform a sacred ritual with very specific requirements. There have to be a certain number of people in a very particular place, and there has to be human sacrifice. The blood has to fall onto the earth in order to bind the horned one, to prevent his emergence.
So what you're saying is Professor Blackwood was just wrong place at the wrong time, no ill intent.
That's exactly right. We had no interest in the professor until James told her more than he should have, and we could not allow her to go back to London with that knowledge.
Well, what if she did? What would it matter?
Well, as I said, we've been burned as witches through all of time and killed. And if even one time we were prevented from being able to complete the ritual, it could be the end of the world, literally.
All right, so let me get this right. I'm done. I'm done with this guy. This guy's a psycho. What you're saying is you've always done this, and the world's always been safe. What happened the last time you didn't do it?
Well, they don't know.
Exactly. Right. Psycho.
So that's what we can't prove, right? Now, I'm into this stuff, but yeah, we can't say that something bad's going to happen if I prevent you from stopping this, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
lock them up.
We are an ancient druidic order. We've existed for millennia in Britain. I mean, rising out of the original druidic cults.
All right, so where is James Blackman right now?
He's at my house.
Well, why is he at your house? Why is he not, like, his wife's, like, worried sick about him?
Because James has agreed to be our sacrifice for the ritual. And he cannot return home and be dissuaded by his wife. And he knows it is easier this way.
Now, what happened to Nathaniel?
How do we know that he is chosen? We're not talking to him. You could have him just held there.
Yeah.
You're welcome to talk to James if that's required. I'm not holding him against his will.
I think we all agree on that.
I'm pretty sure the detective would want to talk to him.
That's fine. James understands the importance of what he is doing.
Yeah.
Or he's been brainwashed to think the importance.
Yeah. Gosh, you're weird.
I mean, why don't you go? Why? It would make more sense if you were really thought about this. Would go get prisoners from the prison to sacrifice them, but guys on death row already or something.
It has to be a willing sacrifice.
Well, I don't think Professor Blackwood was a willing sacrifice.
That's true. She's not the sacrifice that is required. James's death will be the sacrifice that allows the ritual to proceed.
You just killed her because you didn't want her to talk.
I already told you that.
Psycho.
It was regrettable. I truly and sincerely regret her death. I did not want that to happen. But I also did not want the knowledge of our order to get out to the greater world so that we can't perform our ritual.
You think a horned beast is going to destroy the world, and that's a good excuse to kill somebody?
When does the next sacrifice happen?
We have bound him to Wistman's Woods. And
how?
Through the binding ritual that we have to, but we have never been strong enough to bind him permanently, and that's why every 25 years we have to renew the.
What would you need to bind him permanently?
We've never had the strength to do that.
Don't feed into this weirdo.
I'm trying to figure out what his delusions are.
Yeah, what would it take to bind this person?
I mean, we thought that our binding was permanent, but it's regularly like clockwork. Every 25 or 26 years, it weakens, and you can tell the weather changes. The hound emerges.
He's insane.
People disappear and start to go crazy. It's like it happens every time. And then we do the binding, and things are fine.
You know where Nathaniel Brandstaff is?
Look, I can't listen to any more of this. I'm going to walk outside. I'm done.
Right. Nathaniel Brandstaff, where's he?
I'm going to stomp my feet on the way out, too. As loud as I can in the church. However I can. I want to make it obvious that I'm fed up with Psycho Man.
Nathaniel was one of the natural... Nathaniel has passed as a result of his experiences in the woods. Not by my hand.
Mm. So the Yeth hounds got him, is that what you're saying, or something?
The shock. The hounds are restrained in the wood, in the grove. It's 9 or 10 acres. But you can feel them getting stronger. Their presence is starting to be felt outside of the grove. And this is what happens every time. You hear their howls. They start to enter people's dreams. You can see the red eyes at night across the moor. And the longer we wait, the more risk there is that this evil emerges into the world.
How do these Yeth hounds work? Is it only in this town, or do they go to other towns? How far is their reach?
Well, as I said, they physically are bound to the woods, but the influence starts to spread farther and farther. So,
and what kind of people would hear these Yeth hounds? Right. I'm trying to figure out why we would hear it in the prison, but I don't want to say that.
There's not a. He says their influence grows geographically over time. He says, and we're nearing the end of the time that we feel like we can do this ritual. It has to be done because the influence is growing and spreading. I know you think I'm mad, but there's no time to waste. I assure you, if you do not let this ritual go forth, that there will be more madness, if not widespread death, disorder, chaos. I mean, we believe that the Horned Man is essentially a cosmic entity that was originally worshipped during the Iron Age as, people called him Cernunnos. It was a corrupting influence. He basically instigated war and famine and chaos and poverty. Our oldest rituals involve binding him and his servants.
So what happens if you don't bind him this time? Are you still able to bind him if he gets out?
Well, I mean, that's what we do is we bind him as he will be emerging, and then we bind him. That's how this works. We've never let him.
I'm so glad I went outside. I'd have kicked him in the nuts.
We have never let him escape the woods.
When's this next ritual supposed to happen?
Tomorrow. I mean, it could happen. It has to happen at midnight in the grove with 13 members of the order.
So you're doing it tonight, is what you're saying?
We could do it tonight.
I need to see this for myself.
I'm outside, and presuming there's a sign outside the church, like services this Sunday or something. I'm just rearranging letters to spell something unpleasant.
So there needs to be 13 members of the order. What were to happen if we were to attend as well? We're not part of the order. Would we disrupt things, or would we have to take the place of some of the 13?
I think that you could be present as long as we had 13 members of the ritual.
Okay.
But
you see this entity emerging before you bind him.
We have.
All right. Sidebar.
So, okay.
I want to ask
We
him
want to have
how
Donnelly
many
on the
times.
sidebar?
I was
Yeah,
going
we're
to say,
gonna-
I'm not there, but I would want to ask him how many times he's done it himself. If it's every 25 years, it can't be more than 2.
True.
What's that?
I'm not
Yeah,
there.
I'm in my.
They would have to ask. But
Yeah, so how many times have you done this ritual?
I've only been involved in this ritual one time before.
And who was before that?
who did it before?
Like who headed up the order or whatever you want to call
the senior druid of our, we call ourselves druids, but the senior member of our order.
Annoying
Is it always,
vicar
is it
number
always
3.
yeah, is it always the father of the church, or is it could it be somebody else in town?
No, it doesn't have to be the father of the church, but it has to be someone who has a deep historical knowledge and respect for actual cosmic
so
entities.
who would it be after you?
If I were not to do it, one of the other members of the sect would have to step up and take my place. Since we all know the spell, we all chant the spell together. In theory, any one of us could lead this ritual.
All right, let's. So I take them, those two, out to where he is.
The sign now says "laying turd on Sunday."
Do you have enough letters for that?
It does, yeah.
Was that what you were
I
over
brought
here?
extras.
On the box of letters.
I stole it from the library.
I'm going to say I think this man is absolutely out of his mind. I think these people have been duped into a dangerous superstition.
Yes. Yes. We just put him in jail. He can't
we
do
need to
any
get
more
all of them.
harm in there.
But I would like to get...
But if he's
As
running the
many
show,
people-
get him arrested first.
Well,
He's not going to give up the names. He's got to keep the sect going.
yeah.
We got to get them all.
So
But
13,
then they're all
we
going to
could
show
get
up somewhere.
we could get 13 of these members in the same go. But also, all right, just because, and this is the writer coming out in me, the author. I would like to see.
I would love to see it.
This ritual.
I'm all about the occult.
Because if nothing else, I
guess.
could write this story. I could write the story of Professor Blackwood. I could write a story that would sell millions of copies. Let you fence the first
But
edition.
you're feeding into the psychopathy of it.
Doesn't matter. That's the only way to bust them all.
All I'm doing is watching.
He's already admitted to killing Blackwood.
Yeah, but it's only one guy. Yeah, he's going to jail regardless.
Yeah, he's going to jail.
Even if this
regardless.
is a real thing where this guy comes out of the woods and he's got to go to jail for purposely murdering somebody that was not involved.
Look, I'm fine. All right, I'll go along with it because
we don't believe this is
I
happening.
have a point in accounting. I will be able to use this
Okay.
in the woods.
What does Donnelly think about this? Does he
I think
believe
Donnelly
in
should be
supernatural?
keeping an eye on the confessed murderer. I don't know that he should be out there talking.
Well, he's not going to run. He's got to do this ritual. We know where it's going down.
It's only if you believe him.
And did you want to still go talk to James?
I don't believe him.
You don't. You because you did assess honesty while he was lying to you before.
After that.
He thoroughly believes everything that he is telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Weirdo.
So yeah, I'm gonna say I think if nothing else, it would be a good study to see this order. I do not believe in what they're doing. I do not think that what they have is real. But I'm a researcher, and Blackwood was here to do this, and I would like to at least see her work through.
And yeah, for me, at least from Sherman's perspective, there is a fair amount of heavy sighing and rolling of the eyes of like, yeah, as if anyone else is going to show up. Fine, whatever, I'll go along. All right, whatever.
Well, even Blackwood saw what was going on. You know, so somebody gets sacrificed.
Yeah, and that's why this guy just needs to be prosecuted for.
So that's another thing too. She saw something within like a week ago, or whatever, a few days. So what did she see going on?
Well, there's always 3 sacrifices, right?
Oh, 3s, you're right. Yeah.
Maybe James is just the final one.
But he said that Brandstaff, it wasn't his. Yeah, he just went out to the woods.
No.
Yeah.
But if that person was set as missing, any people that were sacrifices wouldn't be.
Right.
Huh.
If nothing else, we might find more evidence against the entire.
Yeah, I suppose. If more than one person was involved in her death, yeah, we ought to figure that out. All right, I'll buy that.
All right, what does Donnelly think about this? Like our little plan here.
I mean, he's willing to go along with you guys on what you want. I mean,
but he's fine with we're going to put these people under arrest, and do you need to call in more people? Kind of.
I don't have any more people to call for this.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now we only have one definite person that should be, because he confessed. He was like, she died by my hand.
Right.
So
and
right now Donnelly would be
sacrifice.
Yeah,
I'm just going to kill her.
And Donnelly is the only person that would be needed for one person as far as manpower, because he's also got us.
Yeah. All right. You want to talk to James or not?
Yeah.
There you
go. I want to know if he's involved or not. To
can corroborate
Terrence's point. Actually, it may have been Howe that said it, but whoever said it, he might just be the father might just be lying about him, that he's really not agreed to do something.
Right.
He might be tied up.
We're just listening to a confessed murderer saying that there's a guy that's also agreed to die.
Right.
Yeah, I don't buy that either.
All right, so let's go talk to James.
Yeah.
We asked the vicar. We want to talk to James and make sure you're not lying about that.
He's in a small, humble home next door.
No.
So Father Blakely leads you over there, and you step inside and you see James, who's the same age as Hannah, and he's just sitting inside by the fire, kind of staring in a wooden rocking chair, just kind of staring into the fire. He doesn't even really look up when you all walk in the door. Just seems kind of lost in thought.
Excuse me, are you James Blacknam?
He looks up and says, yes.
Sir, we've been tasked by your wife to find you. Why have you been here? Are you being held against your will?
He says, no, I'm here. No, I'm here by my choice. I'm here with Father Blakely. I must be here.
Why?
He kind of looks at the priest. The priest gives him a little nod, and he says, I'm here. I have to do what has to be done.
Oh, that screams coercion.
Who were the 2 sacrifices before you?
If the priest said to give him permission to answer, good.
Well, no, it's kind of like, do these guys know what's going on?
I mean, for Sherman, that goes with the brainwashing thing.
Oh, right.
If the priest said to give him permission to answer what you're doing here, oh my gosh, yeah, that is so loaded. This guy's going to hell.
And why haven't you sent any correspondence to your wife? I mean, even if she's worried, sick.
Send her a postcard from the other side of town. Do something.
She would not understand why I'm not home and why I'm not coming home.
I'm just feeling like the skin is crawling. He just wants to punch somebody.
You all obviously don't understand what's happening here. You may think you do, but...
Oh, no. We understand fairly well. We just don't believe that it's real.
Well, I mean, that's your choice, but I don't understand why you would not. This has been happening over and over and over for centuries upon centuries upon centuries.
No evidence of it, sir. And even beyond all that, you are going to leave your wife in complete ignorance as to why you left. Now, even if you decide not to tell her about this specific thing, why not send her a postcard that said you run off with someone else? I mean, even that would be more closure than just disappearing.
Yeah.
She will know of my sacrifice after it's been made. And she will know that everything I did for her and for my town and for my country.
Yeah, but if what you guys are saying is true, they won't know, because life just goes on.
Right.
How would anyone know the world didn't come to an end like every other day?
That's
Psychos.
That's exactly right. That's why we do what we do in secret, because people like you do not understand, nor would you appreciate what has to be done.
Yeah, but things I do in secret doesn't involve killing people.
Well,
Shh. All right,
like,
but you know what?
I'm not being murdered. I'm choosing to die so that everyone else may live.
The issue is someone else was murdered because of this.
Yeah, an innocent was murdered.
It was incredibly unfortunate, and I know that Father Blakely feels horribly about that, but she was fleeing the village. We have no way to know that she wasn't going to talk about the rituals, and that just can't happen.
So who else was sacrificed this past week? Because she witnessed something, according to her journal.
There, 3 sacrifices are required.
So you're
I will be the
3.
last.
All right, so here's what we're going to do.
And all of those of us who give our blood to the earth do so willingly, as members of the society.
So what you're saying is not all of these quote-unquote accidents are quote-unquote accidents. They're actual sacrifices. You're arranging for people to die.
Forget about the accident.
I'm not forgetting about anything.
That's completely removed
killing
from what's
lots of
going
people.
on.
The accidents are no longer part of the sacrifices.
Only 3 people die. Ideally, only 3 people die for the order. However, many more people die because of the effect of the Horned Man as the bonds on him weaken and his ability to exert himself into the world grows. He causes madness, insanity, terror, fear, corruption, and we're near the time where he will be able to do that on a much larger scale than he is now.
I'm going to stamp my feet and walk out again. just because.
Well, we want to see this Horned Man.
My slowly lowering stability and sanity. I'm just, all right, you know what? Let's do this. Let's see this. We are going to be there tonight to witness this. And if what you're saying is true, then you will have convinced 4 new people, and we might be able to help. But if not, if nothing else, the father is going to have to be taken because he killed an innocent woman.
You hear a voice from outside. Oh, he's going down! He's going down!
The Father has also saved, or will save, millions of innocent and not innocent people.
Well, that remains
and if you feel that he needs to be arrested and tried and killed because of one death, that will be on your consciences.
Well, we'll see how it plays out tonight.
Yep.
That is not a choice that I would make if I were you.
Oh my gosh.
Well, if all goes as you say tonight, then
We won't have to worry about it.
although he did kill an innocent, so he might have to go to jail regardless.
We are so lucky I didn't have the shotgun.
Probably better you didn't. Yeah.
Right.
So,
And you also know that James completely, believes what he's telling you.
yeah. Okay. Well, so I guess at that point, let's just, I don't know if you guys want to just fast forward to the night, or...
I think we should.
Because I don't think there's anything else we can do.
And I got to tell you, too, for me at least, the inside Sherman's Head thing of... well, Kurt, when you mentioned from his perspective of the Horned Man exuding his influence into the world, and since I just had that dream, I'm like, fuck that, that's too close to home. I'm out. Right. I stomped my feet and walked out.
Danger close.
Right.
Yeah. No way he knows what my dream was.
All right.
Psycho.
So let's...
Well, it is interesting, like at the prison, that you guys could hear it, but the doctor couldn't.
Yeah.
But maybe that's because you had been in post-pred. Who knows? But
Yeah.
And it could also be he was just ignoring it. It's something he hears all the time, and he was ignoring it. Yeah. He didn't seem like he heard what we heard.
Yeah, that's right.
But maybe he was.
And you didn't ask him.
Yeah. It's like he probably doesn't react that strongly to the screams and pounding of the prisoners either.
Right.
Where we would have reacted.
If I asked the Father, what does this Horned Man look like?
Like that night, heading into the woods.
Oh, I'll tell you, if he says he's a man with horns, I'm kicking him in the crotch. I'm done with this guy. Right. He's so done. Done with this guy.
And can he be harmed by modern weapons?
Can he be harmed by any conventional means?
We don't believe so. We
You've
believe
got
the binding is the only way.
His accounting, his shotgun, and my axe.
And my other axe.
Why the obsidian?
We use obsidian in the blade. It's the ritual knife that has been used for all of time on the sacrifice.
Okay. Another because.
Yeah.
That's up
So
to Kurt.
fed up.
Kurt doesn't know the answer.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
Kurt.
I'm not sure that. I think it's just a ritual.
and to be fair, Kurt, I'm saying it from the pissed off Sherman perspective.
Oh, yeah.
That everything they do is because the world will end. Because 3 people have to die.
Right.
Because.
Well,
No.
Obsidian is a volcanic rock, right?
Yeah,
so it's from
Sherman
deep
might
in
get his
the.
throat slit.
So it comes from the Earth's center, which may be part of it. But
Yeah.
He's going to be grabbed by the horn man and dragged down to hell going, this is all bullshit. I don't believe a single bit of it.
Leave me be! Jerk.
All right.
And it's
Off to
old man
Winston's
Smithers
Woods.
in the mask. And, yeah.
So we're filling in for 4 people? Is that
No,
that's
we
fine?
are going in
Yeah.
addition to.
He said as long as there are 13 members of the order, it should be all right if we have,
hanger-ons.
visitors passes.
right, the
Okay.
I mean,
We've got backstage
that's right.
pass.
You need 14, 13 plus the sacrifice for this to happen.
Okay.
But the sacrifice doesn't have to be part of the order.
Well, they usually are because
But
it has to be a willing
It has to be a
sacrifice.
willing sacrifice. So,
Well, for this part, right.
right. So we can't grab
But 3 people have to die.
But-
But 1 has to be a willing sacrifice.
all of them are
All
willing
of them.
sacrifices.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so this is James.
So I
is number
misinterpreted
3.
part of that. I thought 3 people had to die.
But 2 have
for
already
this-
died.
Right.
James
Yeah.
is number 3.
No, there
But
has
they're
to be
all
3 willing sacrifices.
All right. I misunderstood. Well, I stomped my feet and walked
Right.
out.
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
fair.
Well, and
Right.
if I wasn't clear on that, I mean, the idea is that
Yeah.
this would be the third, and that we don't really know who the others are.
Yeah.
And it
They're
doesn't
unimportant.
really matter.
Okay. Because I was hearing it as Blackwood was one of the 3.
Oh no, definitely not.
No.
She was just
She was
killed
just gonna
because
go-
she was going to talk.
Right, and then they could have
Right.
shut this whole thing down.
And again, from my perspective, I thought that meant she just needed to be one of the 3, and the final one as part of this ritual is
Yeah,
what takes
right.
care of everything. All right.
No, she had saw the ritual.
That's what I get for being a petulant little bitch.
A little bit.
Yeah. Got it.
Have some hot pineapple.
Gah! Gah!
All right, so
Over the
Stomp
edge.
and
Do I
walk
have a stability check here?
All right, so during the...
That's a sanity drop for
What
that
are we
one.
seeing?
right, so if you're ready for the ritual to be conducted that evening,
I'm curious of one thing. Is it a well-worn trail into the woods like this is used regularly, or are we just traipsing through bramble and brush?
should be.
it's definitely a trail. I mean,
Yeah.
but it has also snowed. So remember,
Okay.
so we were going out into the snow-covered moors.
Because to me, one way or another, it feeds into my belief or disbelief.
Right.
That they're always walking out here if it's a trail, so they're
Right.
just another thing they're making
Right.
up.
But it is several miles out to the woods. It's like probably 2 miles from the center of Post
Yeah,
Bridge.
so
what-
it's like 9 acres or something. This place.
and the woods is like 9 or 10 acres of land. So the order actually meets shortly before midnight. So 11,
I don't know why
11:30.
I'm so eager for my character to crack. However,
It's
does it
obvious
look
your
like?
character's
Yeah.
going to.
Does it look like my dream? Am I walking the same path as I was in my dream?
Well, you're still in Post Bridge. Everyone's meeting in Post Bridge to walk out together.
I thought we were on the path out
Yeah, I
to the
thought
woods.
we were heading into the woods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then you're heading in with. Are you going ahead of the order or with the order?
With
With
you.
you.
I think we're
Okay.
going with.
So
I
they-
mean, I definitely we wouldn't leave the vicar out of our sight. He's a confessed murderer at this
Okay.
point.
Right. So if you guys are starting out of town.
Yeah.
So it's freezing cold.
But is it the same path I walked in my dream?
Yes.
Fuck.
It's exactly the same direction. So you want to make a stability check?
Yeah. Sure.
Sherman's getting his throat slit.
Have
Yeah.
a 2-point stability check.
I'm not going to add anything to this. I am at 4 right now.
I was going to lose it.
Ooh, I rolled a 1. So guess what that puts me down to? I go from 4 to 2.
Holy shit.
So they are all, although everyone is bundled up, they are all
Yeah.
wearing white robes. Identical, all 14 people are wearing identical white robes and carrying lanterns. And so, I don't know if you're on the back of the group,
Yeah, I
but
would assume.
everyone's, by 11:30 starts walking out briskly off into the moors and towards the woods.
As a side note, do we recognize these people from town? Like we've seen them around and are walking. All right. So,
Yep, so you recognize,
so
obviously.
they're not
Father-
like out-of-towners in from London just for this ritual or something.
That's right.
Okay.
It's Father Blakely.
Okay.
Pierce Whitlaw, the bartender, is in the group.
Son of a bitch.
I expected him because the drunkie glanced at him at least once. Yeah.
Remember the other, there was a guy who was watching you all when you were there talking to William. He
Yep,
looked
I
angry.
remember that, yeah.
He is there in the group. He's the one who actually went out and turned right to go up to the church.
Okay.
He's there. They're all dressed in white. James is not. James is dressed in just his regular.
In sacrificial clothing.
He's just dressed,
He's got
as he was.
He's got sheep's wool on.
But he's unbound. His hands are not. I mean, he's there of his free will. So, so you've got the lanterns. Everyone moving out across. As you all approach the woods after 30 minutes of hard walking, everything becomes like eerily silent. So even though you've been out, and even though it is nighttime, going out there, there's been noise. Can you guys make a sense trouble? Or I guess that's not a roll, actually.
I have 5 in sense trouble.
I have 5 points.
Yeah.
So it's not even points. I guess you just in using that skill, I should say, you all like notice that it's really totally silent. There's a complete absence of noise. Almost
it makes sense that I would be hyper
itself,
alert at this point.
Yeah, it's as if the land itself is like
edge,
just waiting.
Like to the point where we can hardly hear our feet crunch in the snow, kind of thing.
Yeah, no creatures can be heard.
Yikes.
No wind is rattling in the branches above head. Everything is still. And this is actually so eerie to you that everyone has to make a 2-point stability check.
Yay! I'm gonna use the same die. Oh, let me.
5.
Oh, it was a 5 on the thing, and
it went to a 1. All right, let's see what I am.
So I'm gonna lose two.
I just rolled a 1 again.
So 2 points if you lost.
I did a 5.
All right.
I think Terry's gonna be a rock here.
I want to look here because what happens when you reach 0 at stability?
You get 0?
I just hit 0 now. I'm shaken when stability is between 0 and -5. I have penalties as if hurt, which I don't think is on this quick sheet.
I think it is. When you're hurt, you take all of your checks are made with a -1 penalty.
Oh, even better. Oh, yeah, here it is.
And you can't make investigation checks.
Penalties, all difficulties are +1. Investigative spends are impossible, it says.
Meaning that you can't really...
Yeah. Well, it sounds like this reads different from what you just said, but either way, I'm good with that.
What? Read again what you thought?
Well, so I'm looking in the middle of it. It's where you're damaged.
Mm-hmm.
But
damage is health.
this calls hurt, and but stability. So you're shaken when stability is between 0 and 5. Penalties as for hurt, and under hurt, it says penalties. All difficulties are +1, and investigative spends are impossible.
That's either what I said or what I meant to say. You
Okay.
can't do investigation.
Because I thought you were saying a negative something.
No, the investigative...
yeah, the DC goes up by 1, which means your roll effectively goes down by 1.
All right, gotcha.
So either way.
It says on here the X is +1. Right there, X +1.
Oh, X.
Okay, on damage,
how much damage he's going to do.
Right.
Well, how much damage...
point blank
Terrence
range
is
for
gonna
the
do.
thing is +2.
But more importantly for you, like in role-playing terms, like in the short term...
Yeah, I'm a wreck.
Yeah, you're
this
not
guy,
enjoying
this is all bullshit.
Right, so
I'm here just taking notes.
Right, and you guys are watching, you're not like impeding the ritual in any way so far? All right, so...
But I am ready to, if nothing is happening, because they said that this thing comes out before they bind it. Mm-hmm. If nothing like that happens, I am ready to stop them from killing James.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I'm ready to light up the vicar if I have to.
Yeah.
I assume Donnelly might do the same. I don't know how he feels about this yet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's in on it.
Okay, so...
What a twist.
He is the horn man.
So you guys are in a small clearing in the heart of a much larger wood. So even though we were going out across the moor, it ends up in, like I said, kind of a 10-acre wooded area, and then there's a very small clearing in the heart of the wood, and that's where you guys are. And like I said, you don't hear any birds, you don't hear any squirrels. You can hear your feet in the snow, but the nature is completely still and silent. The robed figures are holding their lanterns, and they move out without even speaking and from the path and form a large circle in the grove. So there's 12 of them standing, forming a circle around the edge of the edge of the hearing. At that point, the robes, they're hooded, and they pull back their robe, pull off their hoods, and then start to reach out their arms. At that point, James walks into the center with Father Blakely, and Father Blakely turns towards where you all are, and James just kneels down on the ground in front of him. The order have their hoods down and their arms up, and they begin making incantations.
We recognize it out of the text.
I was going to say, at this point, it is not.
Like
no, at this point, it is not anything that you would recognize from this test, from the text that you read earlier. as the order begins to perform their ceremony, all of a sudden you can start to hear piercing howls. They're suddenly breaking the silence that are shrouding the wood. You can hear snarling and barking of dogs all around you where you are. They continue to chant, just ignoring that, and the growls and the howls and the
Can I use a flashlight to see anything out there?
Yes, although I guess if you don't mind potentially disturbing them and you don't see anything.
Yeah,
but
okay.
but it's also just a thin, short beam of light. It's not illuminating much out there at all. So
just, I mean, that's what he would do probably, just like.
Right.
Yeah, what's out
crazy.
there? Right.
Yeah.
So you hear all this barking, and it's getting more and more cacophonous, and it's coming up. And as this happens, and the chanting is getting louder and louder and louder. And as this happens, you see the shadows that are have started to form in the grove start to come together and coalesce, and then you see them growing into a tall mist-like figure that rises in the middle of the small sacred grove with a pale face, completely devoid of features. It's tall with a rack of deformed or malformed antlers on top of its head. And as you see that, you all need to roll, since you're all watching, and make a 5-point mythos stability check.
So we can use our Cthulhu mythos for this or not?
It's a mythos. If it's a mythos check, we should be able to use
we can roll those points, or how does that work?
How many points do you have in mythos?
I've got two.
Two. I think we all have two.
I think we all have two.
Probably because we're part of the miscellaneous society.
Yeah, sure. Let's say yes.
I'm going to use both.
Yeah, agreed.
I think what mythos stability check generally means is that it's a higher DC.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And a higher cost.
All right, that's fine.
So it's a 5 you have to get on the die, I believe.
I'm going to have to use... I want to have 3 left. Fuck.
So the way it works, on this quick sheet at least, it's under sanity.
Yep.
Sanity is the ability to believe in any part of the human world. You permanently lose points from the sanity pool when failing stability tests against mythos threats. Mm-hmm. And that's what it says. Now, it's using Cthulhu mythos investigative ability to gain cosmic clues.
Yeah,
so that's different.
That. Yeah, that's not what we're doing.
So you lose sanity on this roll, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a mythos threat, which means that we lose sanity as a result.
But we can still
failing.
use stability points to add.
I don't think so. I think these are investigative. These are for when you're investigating.
No, but we're still using stability points to make this roll, or not?
But as a mythos roll, it's a sanity roll. So maybe you can use sanity, not stability.
I don't know. Can you use sanity points like stability points?
I don't think so.
Yeah, this may just be a straight up, you roll with no usage of points.
I mean, that's fine. If it is what it is, that's totally cool.
Yeah.
Probably should have figured that out.
I'm fine with just making a roll. And if we lose it, we lose, what, 1 point? Or how does that work?
But I rolled a 5
points.
so I'm
Oh my god, we're going to get crazy.
Well, you are witnessing the incarnation of
something I don't believe in.
But yeah, except for you saw it.
Hang on,
Like it or not.
Let me check. Oh, here, I have sanity marked right here. Hang on one second.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, I just have the quick sheet, so you probably have a little bit more there.
I have it right here. Sanity, losing stability, we're not worried about. Sanity measures your ability. Sanity measures your ability, Joe, to believe a comforting lie. A lie necessary to continue living
I am so there.
as a human.
Yeah.
Sanity is slow to return. In purest games, which is what we're playing, it never returns. All right, let's just see if real quick. Sorry, people watching, if we can see the mechanics.
We're all going crazy.
As long as you keep mumbling, we're good.
Yeah,
I'm just going to light that horn guy up with the shotgun anyway. I mean,
I want to test roll because I know I'm going to lose the number. So there's a 6 I lost.
If you were directly affected by experiencing the Cthulhu mythos and piecing together its truth, you cannot make a test to avoid losing sanity. You lose sanity in one of 2 ways. A mythos shock drops your stability pool to 0 or below, or you use the Cthulhu mythos ability.
Oh yeah, so if you gain a clue of cosmic origin, you lose sanity because you know this.
That's
crazy
where my
truth.
2 sanity went.
Yeah.
Because I gained 2.
That sounds right.
Each time you are shaken by a mythos encounter or attack, your sanity rating drops by 1 point. Each time you are blasted by a mythos encounter or attack, it drops by 2 points. You can only suffer 1 such sanity rating loss per game.
So why does
it say it's a 5 point? Sorry.
Well, we got to roll the 5 or better, but we're going to lose 1 point.
I got you. Oh yeah, DC equals 5. Okay, I got it. I already looked at this. DC equals 5 in my notes right there. All right, so did you guys roll? Did you roll a 6? Someone rolled a 6.
I was practice rolling.
Okay.
They don't count.
Here we go.
Verge is going first.
5!
He got himself a 5.
1!
1 and 5. Damn it.
All right, I'm down to a 7.
I should be losing sanity.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can re-roll if you want. I'm going to get a 6.
All right, so let's... I could be wrong on this, viewers, but let's say that that's 1 off of your sanity, and since we're playing a purist game, like that's never coming back.
Now, we're still going to lose 1 regardless, right?
No, you made it. You guys are good. I lost.
But I thought you lose 1 regardless, and you lose all of it if you fail. Because he said something like, whenever you're confronted with Mythos, you automatically lose 1.
That's what it says. You cannot make a test to avoid losing sanity. But this is Mythos. Oh, this is a Mythos stability test. Sorry.
Oh, is it?
We're not getting blasted by anything crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is it just means it's a higher DC on a stability test.
Okay.
So we're losing stability or sanity?
Now that's
Stability. I misspoke.
No, this is the part that I read, Kurt. On this quick sheet, it says you permanently lose points from sanity when failing stability tests against Mythos threats. This is a Mythos threat.
It is a Mythos threat.
It's a stability test, but you lose points in sanity when you fail this.
Okay, got it. Which is the same thing as it said. It's said differently here, but that's the same thing that is said here where...
So you're losing sanity from this one. It's the middle on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
You use the Cthulhu... Yeah. All right, let's say we lose 1. So either way, you guys have seen this tall, black, wraith shadow figure with like antlers that's just exactly
that I fluff and dreamed about 10 hours ago.
And yet somehow you were not shocked by it.
Well,
he's seen it before.
Well, I've already been shocked that I was reliving my dream, so I guess it makes sense that I wouldn't be ultra shocked.
Right.
It's more expected than shocked.
So you're watching, you guys are just watching this happen.
I am just furiously taking notes.
So at this point, this
without looking up.
And this is like, this is tall, like horn, like above, this is not human size, above you. And at this point, the incantations are getting louder and louder, and they shift, and you are starting to recognize the spell that you have seen in the Latin book that you studied, and you hear them going through. And at this point, Father Blakely takes from underneath his robe the black obsidian blade, and he raises it above his head, and he steps to the right-hand side of James. And while you're watching, as the chanting reaches its highest volume, he takes the blade and he drives it straight into and then across James's neck. At which point the blood starts to gush forth and fall onto the earth right in front of James. And he gurgles and turns and looks up at Father Blakely, and the blood is coming out of the front of his at the climactic moment, comes out.
That's the chant.
And falls face forward onto the earth. As that happens, the actual trees in the grove, the branches start to literally move into where the figure is standing, and the ground itself seems to actually pull up around him, and the branches start to entwine this horned figure, the horned man.
As if to bind it.
And literally draws it back into itself. And then the ground sinks away, the branches come back up to tree level, and the figure's no longer there. At which points the volume of the chanting, it continues, but it starts to diminuendo. It gets quieter and quieter.
I'm not sure I believe it yet. Later on, when I talk about this with others, if they relay the same thing, maybe. In the meantime, it's a trick of the light. It's late. Somebody's shining a flashlight around. There's probably some shadowy crap.
The chanting continues for 45 to 60 seconds after the figure disappears. Same chant, same spell. It gets quieter and quieter, and then it stops. At which point the figures put the hoods back onto their heads, put their hands down and hold the lanterns, and then the circle closes as they draw in around Father Blakely, and James's corpse is lying in the middle of the field.
So now he can be arrested for 2 murders. One he's admitted to, and one
I'll let Detective Donnelly handle that.
Yeah. Disbelief. It didn't happen.
I don't know what happened.
So I think that would be the end of the actual adventure. Of course, as an epilogue, you investigators, Joe, the way Joe Sherman seems to be dealing with this is complete, total denial.
Oh, yeah.
I still think there should be punishment for, Margaret Blackwood. She wasn't, Who's complete innocent, not willing to, sacrifice.
Oh yeah, this guy's going to jail.
There's be something about that. They can choose another guy, but
You've got 25 years.
Now you've already
choose somebody else.
Well, you've already planted the idea in his head. He could spend some time on death row and volunteer himself in 25 years.
That's
right.
True.
So that could happen. But in the meantime, until later, and probably in multiple sessions, until we're sitting around over a good scotch or something, and you guys describe exactly what I saw, I don't believe anyone else saw it. It's a trick of the light. It's
going to turn this into a fiction novel. With everything.
If that read the way I saw it,
you got to put on based on a true story.
Yes, based on
true events.
But always sells more books.
The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah, right.
All except for Sherman.
Would you talk about any of this with Donnelly afterwards?
Yeah,
I'd ask what he wanted to do with this.
Yeah,
because I mean, technically, like those people were willing participants in something, whatever. But she was an innocent that was just, doing some research and fell into something bad, and that he needs to be arrested for that. Guy needs to go to jail for that.
Yep.
I don't know what he thinks about the other stuff. Like he saw what we saw.
He says. So I think you all need to go back to London and let us handle this here in Princeton. We'll take care of the situation.
Yeah. We need to make sure no more innocents are harmed by this.
I think I can assure you that, as best I can, that will be the case.
I would just suggest having a few trusted people that you believe are going to be on the police force for a while come see this, and this needs to be
we'll handle it on our end.
Connected so that you don't have anything else like people like us coming about or Blackwood coming about.
Yeah, we'll keep people. Yeah,
I was going to say, this isn't something you need to be talking about in your miscellaneous.
No, that's what I mean. We'll keep things quiet on our end. But we gotta protect the innocent.
I'm afraid that your plans to write a novel about this might spark far more interest than.
Oh, I'm going to change all names, all places, probably the country.
Yeah, have it like Asia or something. Asia's kind of exotic these days.
In the swamps of Louisiana.
Somewhere in America. There's lots of unknown there.
Yeah.
So
crazy Americans.
So
I don't like that.
It's a long, cold walk back across the moor to Post Bridge, but
I'm just waiting to wake up. I'll be waking up in my bed.
There's a warm fire waiting at the Thistle Lodge. You'll have to decide if you're going to tell Hannah.
I don't. Was the plan for the father? Did he have a letter already written for her? Like, did James already have a letter written, like a will, all that stuff?
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah. If you asked him, yes, he's written what happened. Wrote a very consoling letter to Hannah.
If it thinks it's better for us to deliver that so she's more comfortable, then I don't know.
I think we should wait until the next day and let us leave.
Father Blakely will. Sorry to interrupt. He'll tell you he's a hero for the whole town. Like everyone who is there thinks that it wasn't meant to be his. Father would tell you it wasn't meant to be his time, but it might have been his time eventually, and he is a hero that we needed now.
Right.
Eep. Sorry, I killed your husband. See you Sunday.
Right. Well, there's nothing more for my character at that point.
Nah.
I think we could wrap it up.
Yeah, I'll be denying this for a while.
Because my character has that interest in the ecology.
He's moving to Egypt so he can actually live in denial.
Yes. I would live on denial.
Yeah. No, it's
go back to the library.
It's interesting. I don't know if you're supposed to say this. I don't know quite how the whole Lovecraftian mythos, how much of it is supposed to be explicit, but they refer to him. They say he's worshipped by Iron Age people as Cernunnos, but it's actually the Horned Man is actually a lesser avatar of Nyarlathotep, which I think is one of the if you go to the kind of the bestiary of Cthulhu deep ones, I think would be one of the
ancient ones, deep one.
I think so.
Interesting.
So, yeah, the Horned Man, lesser avatar of Nyarlathotep.
Interesting.
Cool.
So
that's cray. Hashtag cray.
Yeah. And do you want to chat for just 1 minute about some other ways that this could play out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking do me and Terrence just start blasting people and just take out the whole group?
I was like, what would happen if we stopped them after we saw this guy?
And I was almost thinking I'm going to take a blast at the Horn God. Does that interrupt him? Does that screw things up too or not?
I mean, I don't want to. If you don't want to know other ways that this could play out, turn it off now. We're just going to chat here. Yeah. And it can play out ways that were not written. But there's a few obvious ways, right? One is you kill Father Blakely, or you don't let him.
If I had the shotgun, he'd. Yeah.
Right? And I mean, do you want to talk about? I mean,
Yeah,
what
I'd love
would
to
have
know.
So,
I love the
actually,
alternative endings. Yeah.
I want to read a little bit, but basically, if you don't let them conduct the ritual or you stop it, and you have learned the spell, which they tell you takes 8 hours or 4, if you you have to do all this stuff, and then there's a mechanic for whether you can even cast the spell, and it looks really difficult to actually pull the casting off. You need to get the rest of the group to basically, like, they can lend points to your effect, your ability to cast the spell, because you have to pit your stability against the horned ones called inertia, and you have 8. It's 8 against 25. So you have to draw on the other members of the group, and there's like a 3-to-1 ratio. This is the kind of stuff I was looking at during our break, and basically it's not at all clear that you're going to get the. It's not like, oh, we can just do it. So maybe you do it, and then of course, like, what's the epilogue there? Like, are you now members of the cult? Like, are you staying? Like, what happens there? But
I am the vicar now.
But if you if you halt the ritual, well, also depending if you kind of dilly-dally too long, there can be a battle with the Yeth Hound, which basically like can blink and teleport. It's like it moves through time, so it can attack everyone at once, which is kind of crazy. And I'm glad it didn't happen because like, mechanically it's kind of weird, and it's not clear how you actually beat him or dissipate him. But if the if the thing is disrupt and the Horned Man breaks free of its bonds and brings its full strength to bear upon the villages of Post Ridge, the howling of the Yeth Hound intensifies in celebration of its master's release. The pale, featureless mask that covers the Horned Man's face begins to crack and crumble while its body starts to reduce to an effervescent, rolling black mist. This is the black wind, the crawling mist, the pool of shadows, a seething mass of darkness that flows out from the center of the wood. Where it passes, life is extinguished.
Oh my.
It first deals with those remaining members of the Order before heading across the moors to Postbridge, accompanied by its eager hound. There it will lay waste to the village's residents, leaving behind nothing but empty houses in its wake.
Like
then you have
Bronze Age people.
Exactly, just like the Bronze Age, where all the people. Then you have mythos stability checks, 12-point tests, losses, all this stuff. You can make fleeing checks, but ultimately the black mists of Nyarlathotep likely overtake them. Once they pass the edges of the forest, they can easily, blah, blah, blah. Investigators who fail this test may be caught, attacked by the Hound, or enveloped by the mists. If attacked by the Hound, allow them to fight. If they are exceptionally lucky, they may get away. Allow them another test to flee. But the basic idea is this mist rolls forth and just lays waste to the village and beyond.
Nice.
Which I think is pretty cool.
It is.
So,
Crisis averted.
Yeah, we definitely averted that crisis.
and Donnelly will not be arresting Father Blakely, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll piss me off.
That's
You know
what
what?
I kind of love. That's like his decision what he wants to do with that. I think he should be punished for that innocent death.
I'll tell you, as an epilogue, if Sherman knew about that, he'd hunt down Blakely. He's pissed off.
And
Maybe not to kill him,
Right.
but he's got to pay
Steal all
somehow.
his books or
Report him to different authorities, something.
maybe
Do his post his account and screw up his taxes or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, every
And
week.
that's how he uses that account.
Yeah.
it's funny how
every week go through the church and grab all the hymnals and everything.
There's no circumstance in which an innocent death could justify that. Like, I mean, that's kind of what they're trying to set up, right?
Yeah.
Except not so much with people being focused on the professor. I think they expect that you're going to focus on James and like, is it allowing him to die?
Well, he chose to though.
Right.
What's her name was? She was
yeah.
quieted.
But James was coerced, from my perspective, from Sherman's perspective.
Right.
James didn't volunteer. He was coerced.
Right.
Essentially, he got to the point where he believed that the world ends if he doesn't do it.
Right.
And that's not volunteering, that's coercion.
So this adventure has obviously less combat, or in our case, no combat, compared to some of them, although none of the Trail of Cthulhu games have a ton of combat.
Right.
And when they do, it's often kind of just a little flavor of, you're running away from something and there's a couple of shots, but it's a totally different system, so it's kind of a...
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it. And I know I didn't do justice to some of the mechanics and things, but I enjoyed trying to learn it and having fun.
It's cool. And speaking of having fun, I think we're done having fun for now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Time to go be miserable.
We can all just say,
Bye.
see you later. And I gotta press buttons again.
Up.
The preceding podcast was brought to you by One Joe Young. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com.